This is The Philanthropy Show, connecting and inspiring philanthropy.
Welcome to The Philanthropy Show. I'm your host, Luann Saraga-Walters. This show is a testament to the human spirit. When bad things happen, when tragedy strikes, how do we respond? Our guest today made a conscious choice to actively help others who find themselves facing a number of things. It might be illness, they might be in need of something or a tragic accident, and with a passion to help educate people on the complex legal path that situation might have put them in. Karen Mertes is the founder and president of Fulfill Your Destiny. She's a remarkable woman with an amazing story, and it's wonderful to have you on. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Luann, for having me today.
Sharon and I first met you a year ago when you had won the Association of Fundraising Professionals Spirit of Philanthropy Award for the Suncoast chapter. And when we heard your story, I thought, here's this amazing person who, you could have responded much differently.
Yes.
You could have had a lot of anger in your situation. You could have had a lot of different things. And then when we had the opportunity to have you on the show, I thought back to that thinking, wow, this is somebody who has made a huge contribution to humanity by turning this situation into a testament to that spirit of philanthropy, which is just amazing. So can we start with that, if you would share your story and how you came to fulfill your destiny?
Oh, absolutely, Luann. It really goes back to February 7th of 2007 when I was driving on Interstate I-75 outside of Brandon, Florida. And it was 7:20 at night, and unfortunately I was hit by a very, very drunk driver. He was .221 drunk, and he hit me literally going over 100 miles per hour. And he broke my axle, shoved it into my transmission, so I didn't have any steering or brakes. I didn't know it at the time. I'm trying to steer and I'm trying to brake, but nothing is working. So I slid the equivalent of 3 football field lengths before ever coming to a stop. And it was during that time that I was sliding. Part of that time I was conscious. And so I was praying and I was making a bargain. And I promised that if I were fortunate enough to survive, I'd spend the rest of my life helping other people. And I didn't know it then, but that was the genesis of what's created my organization, Fulfill Your Destiny.
That accident resulted in some physical injury to you.
Yes. The most significant of the injuries that I sustained at the scene of the crash was that I sustained a traumatic brain injury, where my brain literally cracked and bled inside my skull. And so, I didn't know that's what it was. I had a horrific headache and neck pain, but it was later diagnosed as that.
So I have so many things that I want to ask you about that. The promise that you made at the time of the accident, and then coming out, having TBI, traumatic brain injury, recovering from that accident, your life has turned upside down, changed all around. Did you have feelings towards that drunk driver?
Yes, in the beginning I was very, very angry because it's a senseless act that doesn't need to occur. But it was my husband actually that pointed out, let's look at it this way, that it was lucky that it was you and that you were in a safe, stable car and you're active duty military, so you're maybe slightly in better shape than the average person. So you were able to sustain that force and that hit and live and walk away. He said, picture a mom with 2 children in the back of the seat. And he said, in all likelihood, they would have been killed. So he said, if you use that as a visual, then it will help you, get over the anger. And, I made a conscious decision that when that drunk driver hit me, he did forever change my life and my life's path. But I get to choose. I get to decide what that ultimate change is going to look like. And I'm trying to do that for the positive.
Oh, I love that. That's very empowering. And kudos to your husband, I want to say, too, because that's the true element of being life partners together.
Yes.
That's that whole for better, for worse, and you're pulling each other up.
Yes.
That's wonderful. And thank you for your service as
Oh,
well.
thank
I know
you.
that you retired as a lieutenant colonel.
I did.
Is that right?
Yes.
Air
Yes.
Force. My
Yes.
father was Air Force. Love that. With Fulfill Your Destiny and what you were just talking about you have that conscious choice. You get to decide what your life looks like.
Yes.
How did it come then into you've made that decision for Karen, and now you want to help others
Yes.
with that?
Well, it's, the second part was making the promise to then forever help other people and serve other people. And right, so what would that look like? Well, in the process of, healing, and it's a continuous journey with a traumatic brain injury, but I could no longer perform in my profession and my chosen career field. And I was fortunate to retire honorably from our United States Air Force. But then, a fairly young person still wanting to be a vital and contributing member of society, I thought, well, what do I do now? And one of the early things I did was get QuickBooks and learn how to do, bookkeeping and, things like that. And I thought,
Wow. And of all the things you could have picked,
yes,
that's
yes,
awesome.
yes.
Well, good. You saw a future in.
Well, and what
The
it was
bookkeeping.
is, too, I purchased the QuickBooks, package, so to say, of software and paid for it, personally. But that's sort of how it was born, is that not everybody can do that. So meaning something bad can happen to good people literally every day to knock them off their path. And they could benefit from some help, some financial help, to either put them back on their path or a different path. And so
And explore the
really-
opportunities
Yes.
of what that might look like.
Yes.
See, what I really love about your story is that you took the opportunity to say, okay, so I was doing this, and that was taken from you without choice,
Right,
basically.
right.
And the choice is, now what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And what can that look like? So instead of I've lost this, it's I've gained that.
Yes, and I used my background. I had been a squadron commander in our United States Air Force twice, back to back. You could think of that as the CEO of a company. And I served in the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer function of a $169 million budget.
Wow.
So numbers and money, for
Yeah.
that matter, are my thing. And so I rolled in all the skills, all the things that still made me me, that maybe didn't change as part of the brain injury. I put that into Fulfill Your Destiny.
And that's great. And you also did some very unique things with Fulfill Your Destiny,
Yes.
as in the business structure. So I want to talk
Yes.
about that, but we must take our first break.
Sure.
So we're going to come back. But up next, what you need to know after a tragedy lands you on an unexpected legal path, and our value tip of the week, and look at what's next in next week's show. We'll be right back.
This show sponsored in part by
My Paper Pusher. Consider it done.
Video is one of the most effective ways of sharing your message with potentially millions of people in a very short time. But what happens if you produce a video with just so-so lighting, or poor framing, or horrible sound? Well, your business reputation takes a subconscious hit. I've been using video to tell stories for the past 30 years for businesses and nonprofits. And for the past 4 years, I've been teaching the professional techniques I've learned to thousands of students throughout Florida. This is what I know. Creating quality videos does not have to be expensive, but it does require investing time in yourself, learning skills to set you apart. Using the techniques and tips that you'll learn through this course, you will quickly be creating quality videos that set you apart and elevate your business reputation. You will learn how to use framing, lighting, and sound to create the perfect shot. Why pre-production is the most important phase in creating your video. What you should really be thinking about on the day of your shoot. And how to apply professional editing techniques to make your finished product a quality product. Using the skills and techniques that you'll develop throughout this course, if you're a nonprofit, you can tell your story and gain supporters and donors. If you're a small business, you'll find the right way to sell your products or services and gain the trust of new clients and customers. So, are you ready to join the world of video? Let's go. Enroll today, and I'll see you in class.
Follow The Philanthropy Show on Facebook for behind-the-scenes action, polls, and commentary.
Welcome back to The Philanthropy Show, talking today with Karen Mertes, who has taken a tragedy in her life and turned it into something amazingly beautiful. You have, with your business structure of Fulfill Your Destiny, created an opportunity where you can help others. You're really empowering them to figure out what it is that they can do after the situation they find themselves in, even beyond that. Help them get, how would you phrase that? Helping them get beyond this current situation?
And helping others fulfill their destiny.
Fulfill their well, there you go. That's why it's Fulfill Your Destiny.
Yes.
So you have an interesting business structure that I would love for you to tell our viewers about. It's really two-pronged.
Sure, sure. You know, I view it that I'm a soulpreneur, raising money.
I love that. Soulpreneur.
Soulpreneur, raising money in a number of ways, 11 different ways as a matter of fact, 5 of which involve my offering a professional service or product for donation. And so I raise all the money really personally, and then have it all donated directly to Fulfill Your Destiny. And Fulfill Your Destiny is categorized as a 501c3, so the tax deductions are there for the donors. And then I just use all the money to help people in our greater Tampa Bay community.
Who are recipients then of, if they have a certain need, if they have a, but the way you raise the money is really interesting too, because you're talking to corporations, or it might be a skill set maybe that you've offered, but you're bringing in people to help other people, which is very creative.
Well, and I don't take a salary for what I do. I pay the administrative costs out of my personal funds, and I donate an additional 10% in honor of each donor. And so it really makes giving 110% possible.
Wow.
Because I'd always, heard that in sports and really in the business world, go out there, give it your very best, give it 110%. And coming from a math and an analytical background, I knew that's not really possible. I always had a vision of, do you grow a third arm or something? How do you do that? So with the 100% donation from any donor and all the donors, then I give an additional 10% in honor of them in their name.
Wow.
And then give it all away here in Greater Tampa Bay.
That's awesome.
So I don't know of another nonprofit across our nation that's structured that way.
I feel a book coming on, and you heard it here first. I'd love for you to write a book about that, 110%. And you could call it that, 110%, and what that looks like.
That's a great idea, actually.
I want to, looking through your website, which let's go ahead and give that now. Your website is?
fulfillyourdestiny.org.
Okay, fulfillyourdestiny.org. And on that, you will find a tab, I think it's called Who We've Helped.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And if you look through some of the amazing stories of the people, it's very varied. It's not a certain niche.
Right.
It's not necessarily all, traumatic brain injury or physical need. So I want to give you an example. 3 different cases, basically, recipients that I picked out. Fulfill Your Destiny provided the remaining initial dollars needed for a local woman to get a kidney transplant.
Yes, yes. I heard about her on the news, and this was a couple years ago. And she had done an awful lot to raise money for herself. Her brother, she was qualified for the transplant. Her brother was going to be the donor of that, and she had lost a lot of weight to be. I think it was 100 pounds over 2 years to be able to accept the kidney and make sure it would stay and whatnot. This would actually be the second time she'd been through the procedure. She'd gotten a different kidney about 15 years prior and taken very good care of it and all those things, and it actually needed another one due to nothing she did. Let's just say that. And so they did so much on their own to raise money, and they were a little bit shy of the $10,000 that kidney donors have to raise before they can have the procedure to pay for all the non-medical costs that come along with that. And it was a very touching story, and I thought to myself, if somebody has the opportunity to pay make a donation to really potentially save somebody's life, why wouldn't we all want to do that? And so it was a really easy decision then to do that, because I look for people who are what I call being heroes, hands eagerly reach out,
I love that too. Yeah.
and that they're working hard, being, productive members of society, contributing to our community, basically doing all the right things, but they need additional help.
A hero, hands eagerly reach out.
Yes.
So here's another example. Emily is a young woman who's, and this was a special, when I saw this, I thought this is really special, because how many young people are in this situation, but we don't realize that.
Right.
Emily is a young woman who's aging out of the foster care system, completed her GED and became a trade school graduate, but she still needed transportation.
Right.
And so by partnering with Wheels of Success, their Wheels to the Future program, which we've had Wheels of Success on the show before, she was able then to get a car so she could get a job and she could have employment and whatnot. How did you hear about this young woman?
Well, I approached Susan Jacobs with Wheels of Success and asked if I could work with her to donate a car to a deserving recipient in our community as part of my spring charity event.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, yes, you do have your spring charity,
Yes.
which is, it's a tea event.
It is.
Charity.
Yes.
Which is, I love that. Go ahead.
And that occurs every year in March. The next one is March 19th of 2016 at the Empress Tea Room.
Okay.
And so I thought it would be really a nice way to share with all the attendees that we're giving a car away today and we're changing a woman's life, so that they could go home and tell their significant others, hey, this is what I did today. I helped to shape the future of someone else in town here.
You are such a connector, Karen. You're thinking of all the different ways. I mean, here you have a car, and you thought, well, what can I do with that? If everybody could think in that capacity of this is what I have, and how can I help other people?
Right.
And how can I connect people to maximize that impact?
Yes, I'm all about collaboration, true collaboration, and wanting to work with as many of other nonprofits in our community as possible. And I can bring some funding and certainly my own sweat equity to go along with it. And because by working together, I really do believe we can help so many more people.
That's wonderful. We're going to take another break, and I'm going to come back and share one more story of a recipient from Fulfill Your Destiny, and also take a look at what are some of the challenges that you see. So still to come, also our value tip of the week and Truth or Care. We'll be right back.
This show sponsored in part by
Our studio sponsor, the Nonprofit Leadership Center of Tampa Bay.
Whether you're a solo entrepreneur, running a small business, or a nonprofit, finding ways to promote and differentiate your business can be challenging, especially in the world of video messaging. In this course, I'll show you how to create 5 video styles which have proven effective for other businesses, and you've probably seen a few of them on TV crafted by major brands. But you don't have to be a Fortune 1000 company to produce these quality videos. You just need to understand their structure and how you fit into them. Throughout this course, I will teach you these 5 basic videos and how you can easily and professionally produce them yourself. Each style suits a different purpose and can be used across multiple platforms, which is essential to having real impact. Okay, are you ready? Let's start with the video business card.
Hello. At the Nonprofit Leadership Center, we promote excellence in leadership through classroom training and other skill-building activities. My name is Lorraine Faithful, and I'm the Operations Manager, and I want to share with you 4 qualities of effective leaders. 1, the ability to keep calm under pressure. In every workplace and at some time or another, circumstances can provide moments that may cause chaos, confusion, or pressure to decide or perform. Keeping calm is an important trait of an effective leader. 2, ambition with a goal-oriented outlook. Effective leaders must create opportunities for reaching new heights and goals for both themselves and their staff. 3, social ability, which leads to strong communication and good networking. And 4, sensitivity, or the ability to focus on the feelings of the people around them. Are you an emerging leader? Do you want to learn more about effective leadership? Please visit our website at nonprofitleadershipcenter.com.
And we're back now with Karen Mertes, Fulfill Your Destiny, talking about some of the examples of the recipients that you've helped. And I wanted to offer this third example of a very generous donor partnered with Fulfill Your Destiny to donate the funds needed for Mrs. Gilman.
Yes.
For her to have eye surgery for a progressive eye disease.
Yes.
Tell me about this story.
You know, Karen Gilman had a disease called keratoconus. And like you said, Luann, it's progressive and it would eventually lead to her going blind.
Mm-hmm.
And so she looked for ways, obviously, to prevent that, and the least invasive ways, and learned about a procedure where I related a little bit to, I had a PRK surgery on my eyes a number of years ago, which is, I think, a competitor to LASIK. And so she had that's not that type, but you know, definitely had a surgery cutting into her eyes to reshape, I believe, the cornea.
Okay.
And so now she has fabulous vision, and it stopped it from getting worse, and in fact, it's reversing the damage that was done. And so she was working hard to raise money through crowdfunding and various things. And a very generous donor in town learned of her plight and wanted to.
And I believe that was a $20,000 donation.
It was.
Wasn't it?
It was.
That's significant.
Yes. Yes. And that donor specifically sought Fulfill Your Destiny out because he had heard of my organization and the fact that I match 10% up to any single donation of $10,000. And so hypothetically, if you were to donate $10,000, I would write a personal check for $1,000. And if there were others sitting around here too, each person donated $10,000, I would be writing $1,000 checks in each of your honors. I cap it at that because somebody once said, well, what happens if you get a very generous donation of, you know, $1 million? You'd have to write a $100,000 check. And that I can't do all at once. So I did it, structured it this way. And so it was a $1,000 check to the $20,000 donation. And then $21,000 was presented to Karen Gilman.
And that's fabulous. And you probably have a lot of people who, there's so much need out there
Yes.
to help it. I wonder,
Yes.
how have you ever thought of how many people since you started Fulfill Your Destiny that you've actually impacted?
You know, on a personal one-to-one level, it's, you know, hundreds, right? And then it goes to thousands when you think of all the
Their reach.
nonprofit, well, their reach and also the nonprofits, because I partner with a lot of them for various occasions and things. And so I don't always see the extent of the money, Fulfill Your Destiny's money that's been given to them, where and all that goes.
Yeah,
And-
the different areas of the community that they serve.
Yes, yes.
And you're a speaker nationally,
Yes, I'm
sharing
a
your story.
professional speaker, and I do speak nationally, and I speak on, you know, triumph through tragedy and life-changing moments, and
Wow.
teaching people how to leave the land of stuck that many of us can get into when something bad happens, and then to live a life of endless opportunities because they're really out there.
And now Plaintiff 101.
Yes.
Which is
yes.
a guide to, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, what did you find yourself following this tragedy, and you're trying to talk with an attorney, and it's a completely different world.
Right. I actually spent 4 years and 2 months in litigation, and thankfully I was successful in that endeavor. And so my husband and I actually co-authored this book. He comes from a personal injury attorney background and has been part of trial teams that have garnered $1 million verdicts and settlements. So he has a wealth of experience there. And I'm the plaintiff in Plaintiff 101 that we wove in. So we teach people right up front how much insurance and what kind they need to protect themselves and their families financially. Just regardless, hopefully nothing will ever happen. And then we walk them through the litigation process from A to Z, what they need to know so they won't make some of the mistakes that I did. I openly talk about what I did wrong and what I did right. And, you know, I wish for everybody to have a successful outcome if something like this should happen to them.
And I bet this was a learning opportunity for both you and your husband, coming from both sides of the coin together.
Yes.
In your experience. I have to ask you, with as much good as you have done following this tragedy, I don't even know how to ask that. Do you see Do you see the value in the tragedy?
You know, I'm really, you know, I guess struggle to say that I feel very blessed and very fortunate that this drunk driver hit me, because my life is completely different now than the path I would have been on. And not that that path was, you know, good or bad, it's just different. But I've been able to affect so many people's lives,
Yeah.
and hopefully serve as an inspiration to people that may be struggling with something, and show them that we can really get to a better place.
I think you're an inspiration to people who aren't struggling too.
Oh, well, thank
Just
you.
your example in your life.
Thank you.
So I'm going to bring us now to our closing question, which is truth or care. What is your heart's definition of philanthropy? Now, we know the story behind the commitment that you made during the time that your car was careening out of control. But
Right.
what is your heart's definition of philanthropy? Why, I guess, what motivates you in doing this?
You know, the very simple answer is because philanthropy and serving others is good for our souls and makes our hearts happy. And, you know, we can equate it to how we need physical fitness for our bodies to perform at their peak. Well, we need to serve others and be philanthropic when in every way that we can to really make our own hearts happy. And that actually, it surprised me so much, because I really do fulfill your destiny to help others fulfill their destinies. But what surprised me pretty early on is the amount of joy that is coming back to me
That's
in the
awesome.
process.
Wow.
And then that joy is like a wonderful, it's like ice cream. You know, you can't get enough of it. And so it fuels me. You
That's
know?
wonderful.
And seeing somebody smile as a result of something I might have had a little role in, that's priceless. And those memories and those pictures of the people, the mental pictures I take, I'll treasure that forever.
Well, I treasure this show. This show feels good. Wow. Thank you so much. You know, we say the Philanthropy Show is for the love of humanity, because that's the definition of philanthropy. But it's for the love of humanity is also for the love of myself.
Sure.
And it's that whole cycle of oneness. You know, you give and it comes back.
Right.
Which is amazing. Wow. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Luann.
Really loved having you here.
Likewise.
Check out her website again, fulfillyourdestiny.org,
.org.
and check into Plaintiff 101. Where is that available?
You know, you can read about it on fulfillyourdestiny.org under the author tab, but it's available on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle.
Fabulous. Well, that wraps up another Philanthropy Show. Join us next Monday. Have a great week, everyone, and go fulfill your destiny. See you next time.